You all are past your prime, Maya whispered harshly to her 3 Korean mafia husbands, gripping onto the single thread of hope keeping her from completely unraveling. But when dawn broke, that hope lay shattered at her feet. And something far more perilous had taken root in its place. If your heart has ever waged war against your logic, stay with us. You'll recognize every decision Maya makes. The youngest of the 3 brothers, the one with the most unpredictable streak, pressed her firmly against the expensive silk bedding, his jaw set with something possessive and dark. "Repeat that," he commanded in flawless English, his Korean accent lending an extra edge of danger to the words. "Tell us one more time how we're past our prime, and I'll dedicate this entire night to demonstrating precisely how mistaken you are." Maya's pulse thundered as she stared up at the 3 most intimidating men she'd ever encountered. Lee Jun, 45 years old, positioned by the floor-to-ceiling window, his silver-threaded hair catching moonlight, observing her with the patience of a predator. Choi Min-seo, 42, leaned casually against the mahogany dresser, arms folded, his scarred hands telling stories of violence she didn't care to imagine. And Kang Ji-hoo, 38, the youngest, currently had her trapped against the mattress with his frame, his obsidian eyes guaranteeing consequences for every insulting word she'd hurled at them during the wedding ceremony. She was 20 years old, shaking in white silk sleepwear she hadn't selected, wed to 3 Korean mafia leaders she'd never met before this very day, traded by her uncle to clear debts she hadn't even known existed until 7 days prior. And the only thing that had prevented her from shattering completely during the ceremony was the whisper she'd overheard in Seoul's underground circles. That the Lee Choi-kong alliance was powerful, wealthy, untouchable, but entirely incapable. 3 men destroyed by age and past injuries, unable to consummate anything despite their fearsome reputations. That rumor was her sole reason for surviving the act of putting on this nightgown, her only reason for not hurling herself from the penthouse terrace. The singular reason she could stand in this bedroom that cost more than her entire existence and not lose her grip on sanity. Except now, experiencing Ji-hoo's body against hers, feeling the undeniable proof that the rumors were catastrophically inaccurate, Maya understood she'd committed a terrible, terrible error. "I heard people talking," she stammered, her Nigerian accent becoming more pronounced with fear. "They said you couldn't perform, that you were incapable." Jun's voice sliced through the space like a razor. He moved from the window with lethal elegance, each footstep deliberate and measured. "Is that what Seoul's underground is circulating about us these days?" Min-seo's laugh was dark and cynical. "Let them spread their tales. Underestimated men build empires while overestimated men watch theirs crumble." But Ji-hoo's thumb traced her quivering jawline. She believed every syllable. "Didn't you, little wife? You thought you'd be untouched. Thought you'd perform the role of beautiful spouse, tolerate our existence, and keep your body exclusively yours." Maya's throat constricted. Yes, that was precisely her calculation. What she depended on, what she'd clung to like a drowning woman when her uncle had traded her to these men 3 days earlier. When they'd dressed her in traditional hanbok for a ceremony that existed in her memory as fragments, when they'd transported her to this penthouse that resembled a gilded prison designed specifically to contain her. "Please," she whispered, despising how her voice fractured. "I don't want any of this. I never chose this." "None of us chose our circumstances," Jun said quietly, now standing at the bed's edge. "Your uncle accumulated 800 million won in debt to us. He presented you as recompense. We accepted because in our world, debts are settled in blood or something of equal worth. You're 20 years old, educated, stunning, and obviously terrified. That combination makes you valuable." "I'm not property to be possessed," Maya said, locating her anger beneath the terror. "I'm a human being. I have rights. I have autonomy." "You have nothing," Min-seo interrupted, his tone ice cold. "No family willing to reclaim you. No resources to purchase your freedom. No alternatives except us. The faster you accept that reality, the simpler this becomes." Jihu's hand moved from her jaw to her throat, not applying pressure, merely resting there like an invisible collar. But we're not sadists. We won't force anything tonight. We'll grant you time to acclimate, to comprehend what this marriage actually entails. How magnanimous, Maya spat, her fear transmuting into fury. You purchase me like merchandise and then congratulate yourselves for not violating me immediately. Should I express gratitude? The atmosphere in the room plummeted 10 degrees. Minsio's expression remained unchanged, but something flickered behind his eyes that made Maya's breathing falter. Careful, little wife, he said softly. We're exercising consideration because you're young and frightened, but insolence carries consequences in our world. What will you do? Maya challenged, her voice trembling but defiant. Beat me? Kill me? You paid 800 million won for me. Seems counterproductive to damage your investment. Minseo pushed away from the dresser, moving with that same controlled violence she'd observed in all three. There are methods to discipline without leaving evidence, sweetheart. Ways to make you regret every sharp word without physically touching you at all. Then proceed, Maya said, tears burning her eyes even as she raised her chin. Do whatever you're planning, because I'll never stop resisting. I'll never accept this arrangement. I'll despise you every single day for the remainder of my life. The silence that descended was suffocating. Then Jihu released her, stepped backward, and ran fingers through his dark hair. June, the eldest, studied Maya with uncomfortable intensity. She requires time. Fear makes people simultaneously foolish and courageous. Grant her 1 week to observe we're not the monsters she's imagining. And if she continues fighting after a week? Minseo asked. Then we'll have a remarkably interesting marriage, June replied, something resembling respect in his voice. But I suspect she won't. I believe our little wife is more intelligent than she's currently pretending. I believe once she stops panicking, she'll recognize that fighting us benefits no one, least of all herself. Maya wanted to scream that he was wrong, that she'd resist until her final breath, that they'd purchased her body, but would never possess her spirit. But exhaustion was overwhelming her like ocean waves, the adrenaline that had sustained her throughout the day finally abandoning her. Rest, Jihu said, gesturing toward the massive bed. Tomorrow we'll discuss expectations, boundaries, and what your existence looks like now. Where will you sleep? Maya heard herself ask. All three men smiled, and it was the most terrifying sight she'd witnessed all evening. Here, June said simply. This is our bedroom. You're our wife. We sleep together. No, Maya breathed. No, I can't and I won't. We won't touch you, Minseo assured her. But his eyes conveyed he wanted to. Not tonight. But you'll acclimate to our presence, to sleeping surrounded by us, to belonging to us in every meaningful way. Maya's world tilted dangerously. This was reality. This was genuinely happening. She was married to 3 Korean mafia leaders who fully intended to share her, to possess her, to consume every aspect of her existence. And the worst part, the element that made her want to be sick, she had absolutely no escape route. Friends, kindly hit the subscribe button if you haven't to see how Maya survives her first night with 3 dangerous husbands determined to prove they're anything but old and broken. That night, Maya didn't sleep. How could she? She lay rigid along the furthest edge of the massive bed, hyper-aware of every breath, every shift from the 3 men who'd claimed her as theirs. Jihu had positioned himself directly beside her, his body close enough that she could sense his warmth. Minseo sprawled on her opposite side after she'd attempted to escape to that edge, effectively imprisoning her. And June, the silver-haired orchestrator who seemed to control everything, situated himself at the bed's foot like a guardian. Your heartbeat is racing, Jihu murmured into the darkness. I can detect it from here. Leave me alone, Maya whispered. I can't. You're my wife now. Your fear is my concern. I'm not afraid of you. His laugh was soft, dangerous. Liar. You're terrified. But that's acceptable. Fear keeps you alert. Just don't let it make you reckless. What's the distinction? Smart fear makes you cautious. Reckless fear makes you run. And Maya, his hand located hers in the darkness, his grip firm. If you run, we'll pursue you. And when we capture you, and we will capture you, the mercy we're extending tonight evaporates. She yanked her hand away. Don't touch me. I'll touch you whenever I choose, he said calmly. You're mine, ours. The sooner you accept that reality, the easier your existence becomes. I'll never accept it. We'll see. The night stretched interminably. Every time Maya's exhausted body attempted sleep, one of them would shift, and she'd jolt awake, heart pounding. By the time gray light filtered through the windows, she felt like she'd survived combat. June was first to rise, moving with silent efficiency. He dressed in the attached bathroom, emerged in a perfectly tailored suit that probably cost more than her entire university education, and regarded her with those calculating dark eyes. Up, he said simply. We have breakfast in 20 minutes. I suggest you make yourself presentable. Maya sat up slowly, every muscle aching from tension. What if I refuse? Then you sit at our table in your nightgown and our staff observes exactly how defiant our new bride is. Your decision. He departed without awaiting her response. Mincio followed moments later, pausing only to drop a silk robe on the bed. Cover yourself. Jihu becomes territorial when other men see what belongs to him. I don't belong to him, Maya said. Mincio's smile was sharp as a blade. Keep convincing yourself, sweetheart. Maybe eventually you'll believe it. When they'd both gone, Jihu remained, watching her from where he leaned against the dresser. He'd pulled on black trousers, but remained shirtless, and Maya hated that her eyes traced the defined muscles of his chest, the tattoos marking his ribs, Korean characters she couldn't decipher. You're staring, he observed. I'm attempting to understand how someone so young ended up so damaged, she shot back. His expression darkened. Careful, little wife. My age doesn't make me less dangerous. If anything, it makes me more unpredictable than my brothers. Brothers, not by blood, by choice. We built our organization together 15 years ago. We've killed together, bled together, survived wars together, and now we'll share you together. That's how our family operates. Maya's stomach churned. That's disturbed. That's survival. In our world, trust is rarer than diamonds. We trust each other with everything, including you. She stood shakily, wrapping the robe around herself. I need to shower alone. 10 minutes, Jihu said, checking his watch. After that, I'm coming in whether you're ready or not. The bathroom was obscenely luxurious, marble everywhere, a shower that could accommodate 6 people, golden fixtures that gleamed mockingly. Maya locked the door, turned the water scalding hot, and finally permitted herself to cry. Silent, shaking sobs that she muffled against her arm, allowing the water to wash away evidence of her breakdown. She was trapped, completely, utterly trapped. Her uncle had vanished the moment the transaction completed. Her parents were deceased. She had no siblings, no friends in Seoul who could assist her against men this powerful. The Lee Choi-kang alliance controlled half of Seoul's underground economy. They had politicians, police, judges in their pockets. They were untouchable, and she belonged to them now. The shower door opened. Maya screamed, scrambling backward against the tile. Jihu stood there, fully dressed now, his expression unreadable as steam billowed around them. I said 10 minutes. It's been 12. Get out. She attempted to cover herself, but the shower was glass and steam, offering minimal privacy. No. He stepped inside fully clothed, the water soaking his expensive shirt instantly. Lesson 1, Maya. When we give you instructions, you follow them. Not because we're cruel, but because in our world, timing matters. Hesitation gets people killed. I was just. His hand shot out, gripping her chin, forcing her to meet his eyes. Water streamed between them, and she was naked and vulnerable and absolutely terrified. You were crying, he said quietly, trying to wash away evidence before facing us. I understand, but you need to understand something too. We don't expect you to be happy. We don't expect you to love this, but we do expect obedience. We expect respect, and we expect you to appear when summoned. Are we clear? Maya wanted to spit in his face. Wanted to claw at him. Wanted to fight until he had no choice but to kill her and end this nightmare. But she was naked and alone, and he was right. In their world, defiance got people killed. Maybe not her, not yet, but someone. And she'd already cost her uncle's family enough. Clear, she whispered. Good girl. He released her chin, grabbed a towel, and handed it to her. Dry off, dress. You have 5 minutes now. He left without looking back, and Maya stood there shaking, understanding with perfect clarity that every interaction with these men was an examination. Every moment was designed to break her down, reshape her into something that fit their world. She wouldn't let them, but she'd be smarter about her resistance. The breakfast room was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline. A table laden with both Korean and Western cuisine. Staff moving silently to serve. Maya had dressed in the clothes left in the closet, designer pieces in her exact size that she'd never chosen, perfectly tailored to her curves. All 3 men were already seated. Jun at the head of the table, Min-seo to his right, Ji-hoo to his left. The chair beside Ji-hoo was clearly meant for her. She sat without being instructed, keeping her spine straight, her expression neutral. Jun studied her over his coffee. Better. You're learning. I'm surviving, Maya corrected. Same thing in our world. He gestured to the food. Eat. You didn't have dinner last night. You need strength for what comes next. What comes next? Min-seo smiled. Your education. You're married to the Lee Choi-king alliance now. That means you need to understand our world, our rules, our enemies. Ignorance gets our people killed. I'm not your people. You're our wife, Jun said calmly. That makes you more than our people. That makes you our greatest vulnerability and our most valuable asset. We need you intelligent, aware, and capable of protecting yourself when we're not present. Maya forced herself to eat, each bite tasting like ash. The food was exquisite, clearly prepared by professional chefs, but her throat kept attempting to close around every swallow. She could feel their eyes on her, cataloging every movement, every micro-expression, reading her like she was a book written in a language only they understood. Your uncle informed us you were studying international business at university, Jun said conversationally, as if they were having a normal breakfast instead of her first morning as a purchased bride. Top of your class, scholarship student. Impressive for someone so young. Maya's grip tightened on her chopsticks. That life is over now, isn't it? Why would it be over? Min-seo asked, genuine confusion in his voice. We're not tyrants who imprison women in towers, Maya. We're businessmen who happen to operate outside legal boundaries. Education is valuable. We encourage it. You want me to return to university? She couldn't keep the disbelief from her voice. Just what? Pretend I'm not married to 3 criminals. Pretend my life is normal. Your life will never be normal again, Ji-hoo said bluntly. But it doesn't have to be a prison either. You can complete your degree. You can have interests, friends, a life. Within parameters. Parameters, Maya repeated bitterly. You mean within whatever boundaries you establish, whatever cage you design. Jun set down his coffee cup with careful precision. Every marriage has boundaries, Maya. Ours just happen to include not betraying our organization, not placing yourself in unnecessary danger, and not embarrassing us publicly. Follow those rules and you have more freedom than you think. And if I violate them? The temperature in the room dropped. Then we remind you why breaking our rules is unwise, Min-seo said softly. But let's not focus on consequences yet. Let's focus on possibilities. You're 20 years old, brilliant, and now connected to one of Seoul's most powerful organizations. Do you have any concept of what doors that opens? Prison doors, Maya muttered. Ji-hoo laughed, sharp and unexpected. She's got fire. I appreciate that. Fire gets people burned, Jun warned. But there was something almost approving in his gaze. However, controlled fire keeps you warm and destroys your enemies. Maya, let me be crystal clear about something. We didn't purchase you to break you. We purchased you because your uncle's debt gave us an opportunity to acquire something rare, someone young enough to mold, intelligent enough to be useful, and beautiful enough to be an asset in rooms where beauty matters. You want to use me, Maya said, understanding crystallizing. As distraction, as bait. As our wife, June corrected. Which means you'll accompany us to events, meet our associates, represent our family in social situations. Your youth, your beauty, your foreignness, all of it makes you memorable. And in our world, being memorable in the right ways creates opportunities. Maya's mind raced. They weren't just keeping her as a trophy. They had actual plans for her, which meant she wasn't completely powerless. If they needed her to be useful, that gave her leverage, however small. What if I refused to participate in these games? She asked carefully. Then your existence becomes very small very quickly, Mincio replied. Locked in this penthouse, seeing no one, doing nothing. Is that what you want? No. God, no. The thought of being trapped in this golden cage with nothing but her own thoughts and their occasional presence made her want to scream. I want my freedom, she said instead. Not an option, all three men said simultaneously. The unity of their response sent chills down her spine. They really did operate as one unit, thinking together, deciding together, enforcing together. Then I want, Maya's voice cracked. I want to contact my uncle. I want to know why. Why he sold me, why I wasn't worth more to him than 800 million won. June's expression softened infinitesimally. Your uncle is gone, Maya. The moment the transaction completed, he took his family and disappeared. We have people searching, but he's covered his tracks well. The words hit like physical blows. Gone. He'd sold her and fled, taking his wife and children to safety while abandoning her to pay for his debts. He abandoned me, Maya whispered. He just abandoned me here. Yes, Jihu said, and for the first time, his voice held something almost like gentleness. He did. And that tells you everything you need to know about blood family versus chosen family. You think you're my family now? Maya's laugh was broken, jagged. You purchased me. You possess me. That's not family. That's enslavement. Enslavement implies we treat you as less than human, June said. We treat you as our wife, as our equal in many ways, even if you don't perceive it yet. Equal. Maya gestured around the lavish dining room. You're sitting there in your expensive suits, deciding my entire future, and you think we're equal? Mincio leaned forward, his scarred knuckles resting on the table. Maya, let me tell you something about the three of us. June was sold by his father to a rival gang when he was 12, beaten, starved, trained to be an enforcer. Jihu watched his entire family murdered in front of him when he was 9. And me? His smile was bitter. I was trafficked from Busan at 14, passed between organizations until I learned to fight back hard enough that they decided I was more valuable as a weapon than a victim. Maya's breath caught. We clawed our way out of hell, Jihu continued. Built this empire from nothing but blood and determination. We know what it's like to be powerless, Maya. We know what it's like to be owned. And we swore we'd never make anyone feel that way. Then release me, Maya pleaded. We can't, June said simply. Your uncle's debt created obligations. In our world, debt transfers are sacred. Breaking that agreement would make us look weak, and weakness gets you killed. But we can make this bearable. We can give you an existence that's more than survival. I don't want an existence with you, Maya said, tears burning her eyes. I want my old life back. I want to be 20 years old and normal and free. That life never existed, Mincio said quietly. Your uncle was drowning in debt for 2 years. You were never going to have normal. At least this way you're protected, fed, educated, alive. The truth of his words settled like stones in her stomach. She'd known her uncle was struggling, had seen the stress, the late-night phone calls, the way he'd stopped looking her in the eye months ago. She'd just never imagined this. I hate you, she whispered. All of you. We know, Jihu said. Hate us. Rage at us. Plot against us in your mind, but do it while eating breakfast, while studying, while living. Because Maya, you're 20 years old. You have your entire life ahead of you. Don't waste it on self-destruction. Friends, what happens when Maya realizes her hatred might be concealing something else entirely? Will she survive long enough to discover it? Keep watching and tell us in the comments section which city you're watching from. 3 days passed in a blur of tension and silent warfare. Maya learned the penthouse layout like a prisoner memorizing her cell, every exit, every window, every potential escape route that led nowhere because they were 40 floors up and surrounded by security. She discovered that June departed for business at exactly 6 in the morning. That Mincio trained in the private gym for 2 hours every afternoon. That Jihu worked from home most days, watching her with those dark, calculating eyes that made her skin burn with awareness she absolutely hated. She hated how attractive they were, hated that her traitorous body responded when Jihu's hand brushed hers at dinner, when Mincio's voice dropped low and intimate during their forced conversations, when June looked at her like he could see straight through every defense she'd built. On the 4th night, everything changed. Maya woke to the sound of shouting. Her heart hammered as she sat up in the massive bed. She still slept on the far edge, still woke every time one of them shifted beside her, still felt like she was suffocating under the weight of their presence. But the bed was empty. All 3 of them were gone. More shouting, this time in rapid Korean she couldn't follow. Then a crash that made the entire penthouse shake. Maya's hands trembled as she grabbed the silk robe, crept to the bedroom door. She shouldn't investigate, should stay hidden, stay safe, stay out of whatever violence was unfolding. But the shouting had fear in it. Real fear. And despite everything, despite hating them, despite being their prisoner, Maya found herself moving down the hallway toward the chaos. The living room was destroyed. Furniture overturned, glass shattered everywhere, and blood, so much blood, splattered across the white marble floors. June was on the phone barking orders in Korean, his suit jacket torn, his silver hair disheveled. Mincio held a gun trained on 2 men kneeling with their hands behind their heads, his knuckles split and bleeding. And Jihu was on the floor, clutching his side, red seeping between his fingers. Oh my God, Maya breathed. All eyes snapped to her. Get back to the bedroom, June commanded. Now. But Maya's gaze was locked on Jihu, on the spreading stain across his white shirt, on the way his face had gone pale. Medical training from her volunteer work at the university clinic kicked in automatically. He's bleeding out, she said, moving forward instead of retreating. How long ago was he stabbed? Maya, June started. How long, she interrupted, dropping to her knees beside Jihu, her hands hovering over his wound. Minutes, seconds. Did it hit anything vital? Jihu's eyes found hers, pain and surprise mixing in their depths. Left side, missed organs, just muscle. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're losing blood. Maya pressed her hands over his, adding pressure. You need a hospital. No hospitals, Mincio said sharply. Hospitals mean police reports. Police reports mean investigations. Then you need a doctor. Someone who can. We have a doctor on call, June interrupted, his phone still pressed to his ear. He'll be here in 10 minutes. Maya, you need to leave. I'm not leaving him bleeding on the floor. The words came out fierce, protective, and Maya realized with horror that she meant them. That seeing Jihu hurt made something primal and terrifying rise in her chest. Jihu's hand covered hers, slick with blood. Little wife, he murmured, his voice rough with pain. You're not supposed to care if I bleed. I don't care, Maya lied. I just have medical training. Instinct, that's all. His smile was weak but knowing. Liar. The doctor arrived exactly 10 minutes later, a small efficient man who took one look at the scene and immediately began working on Jihu without questions. Maya stayed beside him, holding his hand because he wouldn't let go, watching as the doctor cleaned and stitched the wound with practiced ease. Muscle laceration, the doctor confirmed in accented English. No organ damage. He'll be in pain for a week. Needs rest and antibiotics. Lucky, Jihu repeated with a bitter laugh that made him wince. Sure. June dealt with the 2 intruders, whoever they were, whatever they'd wanted. Maya didn't ask. The sounds from the other room made her stomach turn, made her understand exactly what kind of men she'd married. When June returned, his knuckles were as bloody as Minceo's, his expression ice cold. "Take her back to the bedroom," he told Mincio. "This doesn't concern her." "Like hell it doesn't," Maya said, surprising herself. "Someone broke into our home and stabbed him." "That concerns me." All three men stared at her. "Our home," June repeated slowly. Maya's face burned. "I just meant..." "You called it our home," Jihu said from the floor, something like wonder in his voice despite the pain. "Not your prison. Not their cage. Our home." Slip of the tongue, Maya muttered, but her hands were still holding Jihu's, still covered in his blood. Mincio holstered his gun, moved toward her with that predatory grace. "You came running when you heard violence. You stayed when we told you to leave. You're covered in his blood, and you haven't let go of his hand. Tell me again how much you hate us, Maya." "I do hate you," she whispered, but the words felt hollow now. "Then why are you crying?" Mincio's thumb caught a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. "Why are you shaking? Why did you place yourself between him and danger when you could have stayed safe?" "I don't know." Maya's voice broke. "I don't know, okay? I should want him hurt. Should want all of you hurt. You purchased me. You possess me. You've made my life a nightmare." But seeing him bleeding, her breath hitched. It felt like dying. "And I hate that. I hate that I care. I hate all of this." Jihu sat up with visible effort, the doctor protesting, but he ignored him completely. His hand cupped Maya's face, tilted it up to meet his gaze. "You care," he said softly. "Despite everything. Despite us, you care." "Don't," Maya pleaded. "Don't make this something it's not." "What is it then?" His thumb traced her lower lip, smearing blood across her skin. "What is this thing between us that makes you tremble when I touch you? That makes you run to my side when I'm hurt? That makes you call this place home?" "I don't know," she breathed. "I do." Jihu's forehead touched hers, his breath warm against her mouth. "It's the same thing that makes me want to kill anyone who looks at you wrong. That makes June watch you like you're the most precious thing in his world. That makes Mincio memorize every expression that crosses your beautiful face. It's..." "Don't say it," Maya interrupted. "Please don't say it." "Connection," he finished anyway. "Recognition. The beginning of something that terrifies you because it makes this real." Maya's hands were still pressed against his wound, could feel his heartbeat under her palms, strong and steady despite the blood loss. "I've been here for days." "You can't." "I can't," she stuttered. "Time doesn't matter," Mincio said, now kneeling beside them both. "We've seen enough in 4 days to know what you are, what you could become to us." "What's that?" Maya asked, terrified of the answer. June's voice came from behind her, low and certain. "Everything." The word hung in the air between them, heavy with promise and threat and possibility. Jihu's hand slid to the back of her neck, pulling her closer until their lips were barely separated. "Let me kiss you," he murmured. "Let me show you this is more than ownership. More than obligation." "I can't," Maya whispered. But she wasn't pulling away. "Yes, you can." His mouth brushed hers, feather-light, questioning. "You're just afraid of what happens when you stop fighting." Friends, have you already fallen as hard as Maya is trying not to? Stay tuned. The journey is only beginning. Maya's world narrowed to the feeling of Jihu's lips against hers, soft, questioning, nothing like the forceful claiming she'd expected. His hand cradled the back of her neck with devastating gentleness, giving her every opportunity to pull away, to reject him, to maintain the walls she'd built. But she didn't pull away. Instead, she found herself leaning into the kiss, her lips parting under his, tasting copper and something darker, something that made heat pool low in her belly. His groan was rough, pained, and she started to retreat, remembering his injury. "Don't," Jihu breathed against her mouth. "Don't stop. The pain is worth this. Worth you finally letting me in." "I'm not letting you in," Maya protested weakly, even as her fingers curled into his blood-stained shirt. "This is just adrenaline, fear, shock. Keep telling yourself that, little wife. He kissed her again, deeper this time, his tongue sliding against hers in a way that made her entire body ignite. But we both know the truth. Minseo's hand tangled in her hair, gently pulling her away from Jihu. Maya gasped as she found herself looking into a scarred, dangerous face, his dark eyes burning with barely controlled hunger. "My turn," he murmured, and then his mouth was on hers, claiming her with more urgency than Jihu had. Less gentle, more demanding. He kissed like he fought, with precision and intensity that left no room for doubt about what he wanted. Maya should hate this, should be repulsed, should fight. But her body was betraying her spectacularly, arching into Minseo's touch, her hands finding his shoulders, her breath coming in short gasps when he finally released her mouth to trail kisses down her throat. "Beautiful," he murmured against her skin. "So damn beautiful when you stop thinking and just feel." "This is wrong," Maya managed. But her voice was wrecked, needy. "This is inevitable," June corrected. And suddenly he was there too, his hand tilting her face up to meet his gaze, the silver-haired orchestrator who watched with those calculating eyes that saw too much. "We should stop," Maya whispered. "Should we?" June's thumb traced her swollen lips. "You're trembling, Maya. Your pupils are dilated. Your pulse is racing. And it's not from fear anymore, is it?" "I hate you," she tried, the words her last defense. "No, you don't." His kiss was different from the others. Controlled, measured, designed to unravel her completely. He kissed like he did everything else, with absolute authority, leaving no doubt about who was in command. And God help her, Maya surrendered to it, let herself be consumed by the feeling of being wanted by 3 dangerous men who'd somehow become essential to her in only 4 days. When June finally released her, Maya was shaking, her lips bruised, her nightgown askew, blood staining her hands and clothes from Jihu's wound. She looked like she'd survived a war. She felt like she'd lost one. "The doctor is still here," June said calmly, as if they hadn't just thoroughly destroyed every defense Maya had. "He needs to finish treating Jihu. And you need to clean up. We'll discuss this in the morning." "Discuss what?" Maya's voice cracked. "How you manipulated me into kissing you. How you used the trauma of seeing him hurt to break down my resistance." Jihu struggled to his feet, Minseo supporting him. "We didn't manipulate anything, little wife. You came to me because you wanted to. You kissed us because you wanted to. Stop blaming us for feelings that scare you." "I don't have feelings for you," Maya insisted desperately. "Then why are you crying again?" Minseo asked softly. "Why do you look absolutely devastated right now?" Because she was. Because in 4 days, these 3 terrifying men had wormed their way past every defense, made her care, made her want, made her feel things she had no right to feel for the men who'd purchased her. "I need to shower," Maya said, her voice hollow. "I need to, I can't." "Go," June said gently. "We'll be here when you're ready to talk." Maya fled to the bathroom, locked the door, and collapsed under scalding water for the 2nd time in 4 days. But this time, she wasn't crying from fear or despair. She was crying because she'd just kissed her captors and wanted more. The next morning, Maya woke alone in the massive bed. Sunlight streamed through the windows, and for a moment, she let herself pretend last night had been a nightmare, that she hadn't kissed them, hadn't wanted them, hadn't felt her entire world shift on its axis. Then she saw the blood still under her fingernails, and reality crashed back. She dressed carefully in black jeans and a simple sweater, her own clothes that had been retrieved from her uncle's apartment. Armor against whatever came next. When she emerged from the bedroom, she found Jihu on the couch, shirtless, his torso wrapped in white bandages, reading something on his tablet. He looked up when she entered, and his smile was knowing. "Sleep well, little wife? Where are the others?" "Dealing with the men who broke in last night. Sending messages to rivals about what happens when you attack our family." He set down the tablet. "Come here." "No." "Maya." His voice dropped to that commanding tone that made her knees weak. "Come here, please." The please undid her. She moved closer, stopping just out of reach. Jihu's hand extended, and after a moment's hesitation, she took it, let him pull her down to sit beside him on the couch. About last night, she started. You kissed me back, Jihu interrupted. Kissed all of us back with enthusiasm, with need, with something real. It was adrenaline. Stop. His hand cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending you don't feel this. I know you're scared. I know this is fast and terrifying and wrong in every conventional way. But Maya, conventional died the moment you became ours. I'm not yours, she whispered, but the protest was automatic, hollow. Yes, you are. He pulled her closer until she was pressed against his uninjured side, his warmth seeping into her. You became ours when you ran to my side last night. When you held my hand through the pain, when you kissed me like you'd been dying to do it since the moment we met. I haven't been dying to. Jihu's laugh was soft, dark. Liar. I've seen the way you look at me when you think I'm not watching. The way you look at all of us, like you want to hate us, but can't quite manage it. Maya's resistance was crumbling. This is insane. I've known you for 4 days. I knew I wanted you 4 days ago. I knew I'd do anything to keep you 3 days ago. I knew I was falling for you 2 days ago. And last night, when you chose to stay by my side instead of running to safety, I knew I'd already fallen. His lips brushed her temple. Time is irrelevant, Maya. Feeling is everything. You don't know me, she protested weakly. I know you're brave. I know you're brilliant. I know you put pressure on my wound with steady hands even though you were terrified. I know you have a scar on your left shoulder from a childhood accident. I know you take your coffee with too much sugar and not enough cream. I know you study best in the early morning hours. I know you bite your lower lip when you're thinking. I know. Stop. Maya's hand covered his mouth. You've been watching me. He kissed her palm. Obsessively. All of us have. You're fascinating, Maya. This brilliant, fierce, beautiful creature who landed in our world and refused to be broken by it. How could we not be obsessed? This isn't healthy. Nothing about our world is healthy. But it's real. It's ours. And you're starting to feel it too, aren't you? Starting to realize that maybe being ours isn't the worst thing that could happen. Before Maya could respond, Jihu's mouth found hers again, swallowing whatever protest she'd been forming. This kiss was different from last night. No audience, no emergency, just the two of them and the dangerous chemistry that had been building since the moment she'd mocked them on their wedding night. His good hand slid under her sweater, fingers splaying across her bare skin, and Maya gasped against his lips. The touch was electric, possessive, claiming her in ways that made rational thought impossible. Tell me to stop, Jihu murmured against her mouth, his hand sliding higher, thumb brushing the underside of her breast. Tell me you don't want this, and I'll stop. But if you don't say the words, Maya, I'm going to keep touching you until you're begging for more. She should say it. Should push him away. Should remember that 4 days ago she'd hated these men, feared them, wanted nothing but escape. But his touch felt like fire and salvation, and she was so tired of fighting feelings that grew stronger every second. Don't stop, she breathed, and felt him smile against her throat. Dangerous words, little wife. His hand cupped her breast through her bra, thumb circling her nipple until it hardened, until she arched into his touch with a whimper she couldn't suppress. Once I start, I won't want to stop. Once I have you, I'll never let you go. You already have me, Maya said, the admission tearing from her throat. You've had me since I ran to your side last night. Maybe even before that. I just didn't want to admit it. Jihu's groan was pure satisfaction. He shifted, pulling her onto his lap despite his injury, positioning her so she straddled him, so she could feel exactly how much he wanted her pressing hard against her core. Feel that, he rasped, his hands gripping her hips, grinding her against him. That's what you do to me, Maya. What you've done to me since the moment you stood in that wedding dress, looking terrified and defiant. I wanted to devour you then. Want to devour you now. Maya's head fell back as he kissed down her throat, teeth grazing her pulse point. Your injury. Forget my injury. His hands found the hem of her sweater, started pulling it up. I need to see you. Need to taste you. Need. The penthouse door opened. Maya scrambled off Jiho's lap so fast she nearly fell. June and Mincio entered, both still wearing the same blood-stained clothes from last night, both looking exhausted and dangerous and absolutely lethal. Their eyes immediately found Maya, disheveled, flushed, her sweater askew, sitting guilty on the couch beside a shirtless Jihu whose bandages had shifted from their activities. Well, Mincio said, his voice stark with amusement. Looks like we missed something interesting. Maya started. Just what? June interrupted, moving closer with predatory grace. Just admitting you want us? Just letting Jihu touch you? Just accepting that this marriage is becoming real? Maya's face burned. I wasn't. We weren't. Your lips are swollen, Mincio observed, now close enough to touch. Your pupils dilated. You're breathing erratic. And Jihu looks like he just won the lottery. So don't lie to us, sweetheart. We can see exactly what was happening. She admitted it, Jihu said smugly. Admitted she's ours. Admitted she stopped fighting it. Is that true? June's hand tilted Maya's face up to meet his gaze. Have you stopped fighting us, Maya? She wanted to lie, wanted to rebuild her defenses. But looking into his dark, intense eyes, she couldn't find the words. I don't know what I'm doing, she whispered instead. I don't know how to do this. How to want the men who purchased me. How to feel anything but wrong about all of this. It's not wrong, Mincio said, his scarred hand cupping her other cheek so she was framed between them. It's unconventional. It's complicated. But it's not wrong, Maya. What's wrong is denying what we all feel. What do we all feel? Maya challenged, needing to hear them say it. Want, June said simply. Need. Possession. The beginning of something that could become love. We're falling in love with you, little wife, Jihu finished from the couch. All of us. And you're falling too. Even if you're too scared to admit it yet. Maya's breath caught. Love. They were talking about love after 4 days, after a transaction, after everything wrong about their beginning. You can't love me, she said desperately. You don't know me. We know enough, Mincio countered. We know you're brave enough to run toward danger instead of away from it. We know you're compassionate enough to care if we bleed. We know you're strong enough to survive having your life destroyed and still find ways to fight back. We know you're passionate enough to kiss us like you're drowning and we're air. What else do we need to know? Everything, Maya's voice broke. You don't know my dreams, my fears, my past, my... Then tell us, June said. We have a lifetime for you to tell us everything. But don't pretend this isn't real because it's fast. Some things just are, Maya. Some connections are instantaneous and undeniable. This is insane, she whispered. Probably, Jihu agreed. But insanity is our specialty. Mincio's thumb traced her lower lip. Let us show you this isn't just physical. Let us prove we want all of you, not just your body. How? Maya asked, trembling between them. Spend the day with us, June said. No obligations, no pressure, just time together. Let us know you, Maya. Let us show you who we are beneath the reputation and the violence. It was a terrible idea. Spending time with them would only make her fall harder. Would only complicate everything. Would only make leaving, if she ever could leave, that much more devastating. But Maya found herself nodding anyway. Okay, one day. One day, June agreed, but his smile suggested he knew one day would become 2, then 3, then forever. They started in the kitchen. Maya watched in amazement as these 3 deadly men who controlled Seoul's underworld argued about how to make proper kimchi jjigae, bickering like brothers, teasing each other, letting her see the bond that held them together. June's version is too salty, Mincio complained, hip-checking the older man away from the stove. Your version is too bland, June retorted. You cook like you're afraid of flavor. I cook like I respect traditional recipes. Both of you cook like you're trying to poison us, Jihu interrupted, wincing as he reached for ingredients despite his injury. All of you sit down before you tear your stitches, Maya commanded, surprising herself. Let me cook. 3 pairs of eyes turned to her in surprise. You cook? Jihu asked. I'm Nigerian and I put myself through university. Of course I cook. Maya rolled up her sleeves, surveyed the ingredients. But I'm not making kimchi jjigae. I'm making jollof rice with Korean fusion. You're going to sit there and tell me about yourselves while I work. Bossy, Minseo observed, but he was smiling. You like bossy? Maya shot back, then froze, realizing what she'd said, how comfortable she'd just been with them. We do, June confirmed, settling at the kitchen island. We like you, Maya. Every facet of you, including the parts that want to order us around. As Maya cooked, they talked. Really talked. June told her about being sold at 12, about learning to survive through observation and patience. Minseo described his trafficking, his escape, the years of fighting his way to freedom. Jihu shared the night he watched his family die, how he'd sworn revenge and found brothers instead. Their stories were brutal, tragic, filled with violence and loss. But they were also stories of survival, of refusing to break, of building family from ashes. And Maya found herself sharing too. Her parents' death in a car accident when she was 16, her uncle taking her in reluctantly. The loneliness of being brilliant and foreign in a country that saw her as different. The dreams she'd had of finishing university, of building something meaningful, of mattering. You matter, Jihu said quietly when she finished. You matter to us. Friends, 3 broken men and 1 fierce woman finding pieces of themselves in each other. Hit the like and subscribe button for more stories like this. The jollof rice was perfect, spicy, aromatic, with just enough Korean gochugaru mixed in to make it fusion. Maya watched nervously as all 3 men took their first bites, their expressions unreadable. Then Minseo groaned, the sound obscenely appreciative. This is incredible. Better than incredible, Jihu corrected, already reaching for seconds. This is the best thing I've eaten in years. June studied her with those penetrating eyes. You've been hiding talents from us, little wife. I haven't been hiding anything, Maya protested. You just never asked what I could do besides look decorative and obedient. You're neither decorative nor obedient, Minseo said with amusement. You're fierce and stubborn and absolutely magnificent. The compliment made her chest tight. Stop trying to charm me. Why? Jihu challenged. It's working. It was. God help her, it was working. Every smile, every shared story, every moment of casual domesticity was breaking down walls she'd built for protection. She was starting to see them as men instead of monsters. Starting to understand that the violence they'd committed came from survival, not cruelty. Starting to care in ways that terrified her. After lunch, June disappeared into his study to handle business calls, leaving Maya alone with Minseo and Jihu. The tension in the room shifted immediately, became charged with awareness. Come here, Minseo said, settling onto the couch. Maya's pulse quickened. Why? Because I want you close. Because Jihu needs to rest his injury and can't chase you if you run. Because you're curious about what happens next. His smile was dark invitation. Come here, Maya. She should refuse. Should maintain distance. Should remember that proximity led to touches, that led to kisses, that led to feelings she couldn't afford. But her feet carried her forward anyway, and when Minseo pulled her onto his lap, positioning her so her back was against his chest, she didn't resist. Good girl, he murmured against her ear, and the praise made her shiver. You're learning. Learning what? Maya asked breathlessly. That surrender doesn't mean weakness. That letting us have you doesn't mean losing yourself. His hands settled on her waist, warm and possessive. Jihu, tell her what you told us last night after she fell asleep. Jihu's gaze intensified from where he reclined on the opposite couch. I told them you were different. That you weren't just beautiful or useful or convenient. I told them you were essential. That watching you care for me despite hating us made me realize I'd never let you go. Not for anything. That's possession, Maya whispered. Not love. It's both, Minseo said, his lips brushing her neck. In our world, possession and love are inseparable. We protect what we love by owning it completely. By making sure no one can ever take it away. I'm not a thing. You're everything, Jihu interrupted. You're the first person in 15 years who's made us feel human instead of monstrous. Who's looked at our blood-stained hands and seen something worth saving. Maya's breath hitched as Minseo's hands slid higher, thumbs brushing the undersides of her breasts. We can't do this. This is inevitable, Minseo corrected. This has been inevitable since the moment you walked into our bedroom wearing that white nightgown, all defiance and terror and desperate hope. I thought you were broken, Maya admitted. I thought I'd be safe. We are broken, Jihu said quietly. Just not in the ways you expected. And you're not safe, little wife. You're ours, which means you're in constant danger of being consumed by how much we want you. Minseo's teeth grazed her earlobe. Tell me you don't want this. Tell me your body isn't responding to every touch. Tell me you're not getting wet right now, imagining what comes next. Maya's face flamed. You're arrogant. I'm observant. His hand slid between her thighs, pressed against her through her jeans. And I can feel how much you want this. How much you want us. A whimper escaped her throat before she could stop it. That's it, Minseo encouraged, applying more pressure. Stop thinking. Stop fighting. Just feel, Maya. Let yourself feel how good this could be. We're going too fast, she managed, even as her hips rocked against his hand. We're going exactly as fast as you need, Jihu said. Your mind is still fighting, but your body knows the truth. You're ours, Maya. You've been ours since the beginning. Your body is just catching up to reality. The penthouse door opened again, and this time it was June returning from his study. His eyes immediately assessed the scene, Maya on Minseo's lap, flushed and panting, Minseo's hand between her thighs, Jihu watching with hungry intensity. Starting without me? June asked mildly, but there was heat in his gaze. Just warming her up, Minseo replied. She's still fighting the inevitable. June crossed to them, crouched in front of Maya so they were eye level. Are you fighting because you don't want this, or because you're scared of how much you do want it? Maya couldn't lie to those penetrating eyes. The second one. Then let go of the fear. His hand covered Minseo's, added pressure that made Maya gasp. Let us show you there's nothing to be afraid of. Let us prove we'll worship you, not just take from you. Maya's voice broke. I need time. I need to think. You need to stop overthinking, Jihu said, now standing despite his injury, moving closer. You need to trust that we won't hurt you. That will make this good for you. That we care about your pleasure as much as our own. All three of them surrounded her now. Minseo behind her, June in front, Jihu to the side. Their presence was overwhelming, intoxicating, making rational thought impossible. One word, June said softly. One word and we stop everything. We give you space. We go back to talking and cooking and pretending we don't want to devour you. But Maya, if you don't say that word, if you let this continue, there's no going back. We'll make you ours in every way. Body, mind, soul. Do you understand? Maya understood perfectly. This was the moment, the choice, the line between resistance and surrender. She should say the word, should retreat to safety, should protect herself from the inevitable heartbreak of falling for men who'd purchased her, men who lived in violence, men who could never give her normal. But she didn't want normal anymore. She wanted them. No word, Maya whispered. I'm not saying the word. The air ignited. Minseo's hand moved with purpose now, unbuttoning her jeans, sliding beneath fabric and lace to touch her directly. Maya's head fell back against his shoulder as his fingers found her wet and ready, circling her most sensitive point with devastating precision. So responsive, he murmured. So perfect. Do you feel how much your body wants this? How it's been craving our touch? June's mouth found hers, swallowing her moans as Minseo worked her expertly, building pleasure with every skilled stroke. Jihu's hands pushed up her sweater, bared her breasts, his mouth closing over one through the lace of her bra. The combined sensations were overwhelming. Maya had never been touched by multiple partners, had barely been touched at all given her focus on studies and survival. This was sensory overload in the best possible way. Hands and mouths everywhere. 3 men dedicated entirely to her pleasure. That's it, Mincio encouraged as her hips rocked against his hand. Take what you need, Maya. Use me. Let us see how beautiful you are when you come apart. I can't. It's too much. You can, June commanded against her lips. You will. Let go, Maya. Let us catch you. Mincio's fingers increased their pace, found the perfect rhythm, and Maya shattered. Her climax hit like lightning, making her cry out, making her shake, making her understand with perfect clarity that she was absolutely, irrevocably lost to these men. They held her through it, murmuring praise in Korean and English, supporting her weight as pleasure turned her boneless. When she finally came back to herself, she found 3 sets of dark eyes watching her with satisfaction and renewed hunger. Beautiful, Jihu breathed. Absolutely beautiful. That was just the beginning, Mincio said, his voice rough. Just a taste of what we can give you. When pleasure becomes addiction. When 3 dangerous men know exactly how to make you fall apart. Maya's surrender is just the beginning. Stay glued, friends. Maya couldn't catch her breath. Her body still trembled with aftershocks, hyper-aware of every point of contact. Mincio's solid warmth behind her. June's hands steadying her hips. Jihu's mouth still pressed against her throat. She'd just experienced the most intense pleasure of her life at the hands of 3 men who'd purchased her, and the contradiction was making her head spin. Look at me, June commanded softly. Maya's eyes fluttered open, met his dark gaze. Do you understand now? He asked. Do you see what we've been trying to tell you? This isn't about ownership. This is about claiming you because we're completely undone by you. Because you've destroyed every wall we spent 15 years building. How Maya's voice was wrecked. How can you feel that way after 4 days? Because some souls recognize each other instantly, Jihu said, easing down beside them despite his injury. Because we've spent 15 years being monsters, and you walked into our lives and reminded us we're still men. Still capable of wanting something beyond power and revenge. Mincio's arms tightened around her waist. You're our redemption, little wife. A chance at something real in a world built on lies and violence. Don't you feel it too? This pull between us that defies logic. Maya did feel it. God help her, she felt it in every cell of her body. The connection that had sparked the moment Jihu pinned her to the bed their wedding night. The recognition when June looked at her like she mattered more than his empire. The heat when Mincio touched her like she was precious and powerful simultaneously. I feel it, she admitted, tears sliding down her cheeks. And it terrifies me. Because what happens when this feeling fades? When you realize I'm just a girl you purchased to settle a debt. When the novelty wears off and you remember I was never your choice. You think this is novelty? June's laugh was harsh. Maya, we've had access to any woman we wanted for 15 years. Models, heiresses, women who would have done anything to be exactly where you are. We've turned them all away because they wanted our money, our power, our protection. They didn't want us. But you do, Mincio continued. You want us despite our money, despite our power, despite everything logical telling you to run. You see the blood on our hands and still kiss us. Still run to our side when we're hurt. Still surrender to our touch even though you're scared. That's not novelty. That's not love either, Maya protested weakly. That's Stockholm Syndrome. That's connection, Jihu interrupted firmly. That's recognition. That's 3 broken men finding the one woman brave enough to see past the monsters to the humans underneath. And that woman being strong enough to let herself be seen in return. Maya buried her face in her hands. This is insane. People don't fall in love in 4 days. They don't marry 3 strangers and suddenly feel complete. They don't. Conventional people don't, June agreed. But Maya, nothing about us is conventional. We're 3 men who've shared everything for 15 years. Who trust each other with our lives, our empire, our darkest secrets. Adding you to that dynamic isn't complicated. It's natural. You fit us. We fit you. Why are you fighting what feels right? Because it shouldn't feel right. Maya's voice broke. You purchased me. My uncle sold me. This started with coercion and debt. And now it's becoming something else, Mincio said gently. Something real, something chosen. Maya, you've had chances to fight us, to refuse us, to make this harder than it needs to be. But you keep choosing us anyway. Keep letting us in. Keep surrendering to what's growing between us. What is growing between us? Maya asked desperately. What do you actually want from me? All three men answered simultaneously. Everything. The word hung in the air, heavy with promise and threat and devastating honesty. We want your mornings, June elaborated. Your laughter at our terrible jokes. Your brilliant mind solving problems in our organization. Your presence at our events making us look human instead of monstrous. We want your nights, Mincio added, his voice dropping to something dark and intimate. Your body in our bed, your pleasure on our tongues, your cries when we make you come apart over and over until you forget your own name. We want your heart, Jihu finished. Your trust, your love, everything you are and everything you could become. We want all of it, Maya. We want you so completely that the thought of losing you makes us dangerous. Maya's breath caught. You can't lose what you never really had. We have you, June said with absolute certainty. You just haven't admitted it yet. But you will. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow, but eventually you'll stop fighting and accept that you're ours the same way we're irrevocably yours. What if I can't? Maya whispered. What if I'm too damaged by how this started? What if I can never separate the coercion from the choice? Jihu cupped her face, forced her to meet his eyes. Then we'll spend every day for the rest of our lives proving the choice is real. Proving we value your consent more than our possession of you. Proving that what started wrong can become right. How? Maya asked. How do you prove that? By giving you freedom, June said. Real freedom. Maya, your uncle's debt, it was paid the day we married you. Completely erased. You're not bound to us legally anymore. You could leave right now and we couldn't stop you. Maya's world tilted. What? You heard him, Mincio confirmed. The debt is gone. Your family is protected whether you stay or go. We made sure of it 3 days ago. Then why? Maya couldn't process it. Why didn't you tell me? Because we wanted you to choose us, Jihu said simply. Not because you had to. Not because of obligation or debt. But because you wanted to. We've been waiting for you to realize you're staying because you want to, not because you have to. Tears streamed down Maya's face. You manipulated me. Let me think I was trapped when I wasn't. Yes, June admitted without shame. We did, because we're selfish bastards who wanted you so badly we were willing to use every advantage. But Maya, you staying these 4 days? That was an obligation. You had chances to demand the truth, to investigate, to push back harder. You didn't, because some part of you wanted to stay. Wanted to see what we could become together. I hate you, Maya sobbed. But the words had no heat. No, you don't, Mincio said gently. You hate that you're falling for us despite everything. You hate that it feels good. You hate that your heart is betraying your mind's very logical reasons to run. He was right. God, he was right. Maya had been finding excuses to stay, telling herself it was about survival, about protecting herself, about having no choice. But the truth was simpler and more terrifying. She was falling in love with 3 dangerous men who'd purchased her and somehow made her feel more valued than anyone in her entire life. So what now? Maya asked, her voice small. What happens now that I know I could leave? Now, June said, his thumb catching her tears, you decide. Really decide. Do you walk away from us or do you stay and see what we can build together? And if I stay? Maya's heart hammered. What does that mean? It means we make this marriage real, Jihu said. In every way. We share our lives, our bodies, our futures. We build something together that's ours. We choose each other every single day until the choice becomes permanent. It means we love you, Mincio added. Completely, possessively, with everything we are. And you let yourself love us back. Maya looked at each of them. June with his silver hair and calculating eyes that softened only for her. Mincio with his scars and rough gentleness that made her feel both protected and powerful. Jihu with his dangerous smile and unexpected vulnerability that called to something deep in her soul. 3 broken men offering her everything. Three monsters who'd somehow become her home. I need time, she whispered. Not to decide if I'm staying. I think we all know I'm staying. But to process this, to understand what I'm choosing. How much time? June asked. Tonight. Let me have tonight to think. To really think without you touching me, kissing me, making me forget why this should terrify me. The three men exchanged looks, some silent communication passing between them. One night, June finally agreed. You sleep in the guest room tonight. We don't touch you. Don't pressure you. Give you space to think clearly. But tomorrow morning, Maya, you give us your answer. You commit to this completely, or you walk away. We won't live in limbo. Fair, Maya said, though the thought of sleeping alone after being surrounded by them for 4 days made her chest ache. That night, Maya lay in the guest room bed staring at the ceiling, processing everything. She could leave. Could walk away from three men who'd purchased her, manipulated her, made her question everything she thought she knew about herself. But leaving meant losing the first people who'd made her feel truly seen. Who'd looked at her brain and her strength and her defiance and wanted more, not less. Who'd given her pleasure and protection and the beginning of something that felt remarkably like family. Leaving meant safety. Staying meant risk. But Maya had never been safe. Her parents died when she was 16. Her uncle barely tolerated her. She'd fought for every scholarship, every grade, every opportunity. Safety was an illusion she'd never really had. So maybe it was time to stop reaching for safety and reach for something else instead. Something terrifying and beautiful and absolutely insane. Tomorrow morning, Maya makes the choice that will define the rest of her life. Will she choose safety, or will she choose the three men who've already chosen her? The answer will change everything. And some of you already know what she's going to say because your heart recognized it the moment hers did. Hit subscribe button for part 2.